This video is brought to you by Liquid Knowledge Incorporated.
Reciprocity. Simply put, people are obliged to give back to others in the form of a behavior, gift, or service that they have received first. Now, if a friend invites you to a party, there's an obligation for you to invite them to a future party that you may be hosting. If a colleague does you a favor, then you owe that colleague a favor. Now, in the context of social obligation, people are most likely to say yes to those of which that they owe. One of the best demonstrations of the principle of reciprocity comes from a series of studies conducted in restaurants. So last time you visit a restaurant, there's a good chance that the waiter or waitress will have given you a gift, probably the same time that they bring your bill, typically in the form of a fortune cookie, chocolate, or mint. Now, the real question is, did that giving of a mint, a simple mint, have any influence over how much tip you're going to leave them? People will say no, but that mint can make a surprising difference. In fact, study shows that giving diners a single mint at the end of their meal typically increase tips by around 3%. Interestingly, if the gift is doubled and 2 mints are provided, tips don't double, they quadruple. The 14% increase in tips. Perhaps the most interesting of all is that if the waiter provides 1 mint, starts to walk away from the table, pauses, turns back, and says, "For you nice people, use an extra mint. Tips go through the roof." With a 23% increase, influenced not by what was given, but how it was given is the key. So the critical point to using the principle of reciprocity is to be the first to give and to ensure that what you gave is personalized and unexpected for the best overall results. Consider these facts. 150 people die each year from coconuts falling on their head than shark attacks each year. You're more likely to be killed by a champagne cork than a poisonous spider. Donkeys kill more people each year than plane crashes. Now imagine using each of these in separate scenarios. Each would apply to the person that you're negotiating with. For example, your friend is afraid of sharks. To reassure him how unlikely that is, you would use the first fact. Somebody is extremely terrified of spiders. How would they overcome this? One of the scenarios that you could use is the second one, where you're more likely to be killed by a champagne cork than a poisonous spider. Now, in terms of somebody who's flying on a plane, if they're too scared to board the plane, you might say, donkeys kill more people each year than plane crashes. These are substantial facts that you are using to try and manipulate and persuade the person that you are negotiating with. It may be effective and it may not be effective depending on the person, but using contrast allows people to mentally overcome their own objections. Now, they find your offer desirable and yet they still have reservations. Contrast allows you to reframe an objectable element, such as price or purchase timing, for example, in such a way that allows a prospect to proceed with their situation or purchase. Now, the power of contrast is truly amazing because you are actually altering the person on the other side of the conversation's perception of the very facts that you are implying, and yet the facts have not actually changed at all. The technique works by getting into the person's head in such a way that a red light is switched to a green light. Now, the key to using contrast to your benefit is to identify potential objections that a prospect might have and then present contrasting illusions and illustrations that changes the person's perception of the facts, giving rise to the objection. Now, your offer has to be well targeted to the person you're negotiating with, of course, and contrast can help you increase your conversation rate by systematically overcoming these objectives that the person you're negotiating with might have. Hence why it is an effective tool that you can utilize at your disposal when negotiating with another party. Consistency. People like to be consistent with the things that they have previously said or done. Consistency is activated by looking for and asking for small initial commitments that can be made. In one famous set of studies, researchers found, unsurprisingly, that very few people would be willing to put an unsightly wooden board on their front lawn to support a Drive Safely campaign in their neighborhood. Now, however, in a similar campaign, in a neighborhood close by, 4 times as many homeowners indicated that they would be willing to put up this same unsightly billboard. Why is this? This is because 10 days previously, they had agreed to place a small postcard in the front window of their homes that signaled their support for this same Drive Safely campaign. Now, that small postcard was the initial commitment that led to a 400% increase in much bigger but still consistent change. Now, when seeking to influence by using the consistency principle, the detective of influence looks for voluntary, active, and public commitments, and ideally gets those commitments in writing. Now, according to author Cialdini, consistency builds trust, and trust is the most valuable coin in modern business exchange. He said it allows us to interact with people in efficient and effective ways. Hence, this just proves why consistency is one of the best tactics in negotiation.